All right, guys. So I just got home from work. We had a bit of a delay, and then everything happened. I'm at work. I keep checking my phone. I'm like checking my phone. Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. One thing too, I want to get out of the way. I got this today. This is my whiteboard. Isn't that wonderful? Arrived through Amazon, so I will be utilizing that for this channel soon. But but Alex Burrows is now a member of this team from this team. So the question was asked of me. I sent a message on Facebook. Does this knock the Senators down your list of favorite teams based on my feelings about Burrows? Burrows being added to the Senators is interesting, but I'm very excited as a Canucks fan today because Jonathan Dahlen is a member of the Vancouver Canucks. I was a huge fan of Wolf Dahlen growing up, and at the draft, I felt like the Canucks blew it in not getting Tyrone. Here's Cliffy's kid. All you got to do is step up in the 6th or 7th round and say, the Vancouver Canucks, they don't even step up. They just write it down and give it to and the NHL just announces it. And it's not like the first round where you announce them and they come up and put on a jersey. No, all they had to do was write his name down and say, yeah, we'll grab Tyrone. Sure. 6th or 7th round. Dahlen never played for the Canucks, but Ulf Dahlen played for my Stars. Always liked Ulf Dahlen. Hard worker, good at both ends of the ice. He's tougher than most Swedes in terms of his on ice festivities. And I loved Ulf Dahlen. I've done videos where I've talked about my favorite players, and Dahlen's usually in that list as guys that I loved that nobody else knew who they were. The idea that his kid is a Canuck prospect makes me very excited. And he's a center. He's a center. And he scored 20 goals playing in the Swedish League at 19 years of age. I am now it's Swede 1, meaning it's their one level below the Premier League, but still, the kid has skill. A second rounder last year, in my eyes, roughly the equivalent of a first rounder this year because there were so many really good prospects last year. Dahlen, I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy. And I'm happy, I'll say this much too, I'm happy for Senators fans too. Here's why. Having a little sandpaper like an Alex Burrows, and Sens fans are going to hate him until he's wearing their jersey and he's playing for their team. Burrows is one of those guys. You hate him until he's on your team, he's wearing your team colors, and then you realize there's a lot to like. And Burrows, I don't condone the way that he behaves on the ice. Some of the crap he pulls. But I've never heard anything about a bad attitude in the locker room. I've never heard a bad word said about him by teammates, present or former. Yes, there have been a lot of things said about him by players from other teams, but teammates, I've never heard anything. He's a team guy. He is better than his numbers indicate right now. He's actually picked up his play quite a bit this year from last year. He's 35. He's a UFA at the end of the year. He is a rental. Ottawa clearly feels that with some of their prospects they could give up Dahlen. Dahlen is not one of the names that kept coming up with Ottawa. It's been White that's been coming up all the time. Like, oh, teams are calling about White. Clearly, Ottawa saw Dahlen as one of the second-tier prospects, or Benning said, hey, we like this kid. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if Benning really liked Dahlen. I'm just a very happy fan right now for both teams. So this doesn't affect the standing of the Senators in my eyes or the standing of the Canucks. I've always really enjoyed it when two teams I cheer for trade with each other. And this is one of those times. Yes, even the Sagan trade I was happy about as a Boston and Dallas fan. And I'm not getting into that again. I've discussed it before. But this trade, it helps. It doesn't hurt the Canucks from here on. I honestly was starting to think that with the mumps going through the Canuck locker room the way it has, that now there's a number of players. I was starting to think maybe the Canucks aren't good. I was actually gonna do a video when I got home of maybe the Canucks. There's no value with guys because mumps. But Burrows traded out. He's going to be happy in Ottawa. He's going to the playoffs. He is a warrior in the playoffs as long as his emotions stay in check and he's focused on what he's got to do and not on just agitating the other team. But he's a very good agitator. He's like what Steve Ott would be if he was half the dick that he is. So it's just a Steve Ott turned down by 50%. And I watched Ott in Dallas for years. Drove me nuts. Even though he was on my team, he drove me nuts. Dallas didn't make me happy today, but that's a different trade. That's a different trade, and I'm going to get into that in a bit. But for me, this trade works really well. Ottawa can afford it under the cap. It's not going to hurt them. And for Vancouver, they pick up a prospect. Finally, a prospect at the deadline, and it's one that could actually play a game for the Vancouver Canucks in Jonathan Dahlen. I so happy about this that I know somehow Benning's going to trade him before I'm done this video. He's traded to the Rangers for Tanner Glass. No! Did anybody notice Tanner Glass was in the thumbnail I used for a video yesterday? Nobody noticed that? Interesting. I did that on purpose too. Anyways, I'll be interested to know what you guys think in the comments below. I have 2 more videos to do on trades today because there's one other one that's very important, and there's one that's minorly important, and to me as a Dallas fan, it sort of chips at me a little bit. I've always found it sort of an awkward thing. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Holy crow, I've picked up 200 subscribers within the last week, which is fantastic. And now I've got a whiteboard to welcome you people with. A big, nice, fancy whiteboard. Not fancy. It'll be fancy because I got stickers to put all over it. Because this room doesn't look like a teenager room quite enough yet. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all again within the next... it'll be pretty quick. And I promise I will discuss more about this as the trade deadline. Don't worry, I'm still going to be home early on Wednesday. I'm still going to live stream on Wednesday. We're going to discuss the trade deadline and what's happened to that point and what's going to happen from there. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.